They say a person's home is their castle, and that is why we spend a lot of time trying to figure out that perfect place to call our own. So today, Grid Property Group is here in Vauxhall Street at the beautiful office of John Keells Properties to speak to none other than Nadeem Shums, who is the head of sales and marketing for John Keells Properties. He is also the vice president of John Keells Group. And he's joining us to talk a little bit about the amazing projects that John Keells Properties has to offer and why you should consider a great investment here in Sri Lanka. So with that, let's welcome Nadeem. Hi Nadeem.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Brilliant. So I think our clients, our potential clients will definitely enjoy this conversation. I know that John Keells Group is basically having some amazing, or John Keells Properties is having some amazing projects that are happening right now. So with that, let's get right into it.
Sure.
So when it comes to John Keells Properties, as a pioneer, as well as a leader in the real estate market, how has John Keells Properties redefined or uplifted the real estate landscape here in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, good question. John Keells Properties has always been in the forefront of innovation in Sri Lanka in the real estate landscape. So we started off with two of our projects in the Crescat city, that's the Emperor and the Monarch, which were our first two luxury developments, really redefining the landscape and the skyline of the heart of Colombo. And that was the first integrated project in the city, because right in the center of it, you had the Cinnamon Grand Hotel, and then you have the Crescat Boulevard shopping mall. So that level of convenience, no other apartment complex could have offered it at the time we launched it. So it was something really unique and something that really transformed the real estate landscape in Sri Lanka. So at the time, then we were thinking, what's that next bold step that John Keells Properties is going to take, in terms of real estate. So we were playing in the kind of luxury market, and we wanted to see, what is it that we can do that we can give at a competitive price to a wider buyer base, in Sri Lanka, rather than just focusing only on the luxury segment.
True.
So then we kind of brainstormed and looked at this concept, which today is known as On 320, which was really kind of pioneering at the time, because no one had done that scale of development before. Because it's 475 apartments in one location across 3 towers.
Wow.
Now, the questions we got at the time was, it's going to be too crowded, 400 apartments in one location, the traffic going in and out. So you get various questions coming up, but
whether it'll be too busy.
Whether it'll be too busy. So, but you look at it today and you walk into On 320, when you walk into the lobbies, because anyone coming to their apartment would drive straight to their car park levels and go into their apartments. Not everyone's just going to be hanging out in all the common areas, right? And you have that kind of diversity within the building, so you don't have so many people crowding in one place, right? So that was something really unique, because it was at a very attractive price point and something that was very kind of affordable for the wider segment of the population. But then we also thought, okay, now we've done this very successful development on Union Place, and we really transformed Union Place as a location, Colombo too, with this development coming up. Then we looked at our next development, which was a super luxury development on Gregory's Road, right opposite the Australian High Commission. So that was, something unique as well, because it's only 66 apartments, again in the heart of the city, in a prime residential area. And with lots of high commissions and embassies around. And today you see from the luxury developments in the city, especially with the less dense luxury developments, 7 Cents is the most preferred development for anyone, even from an embassy or an NGO or anyone renting an apartment. The preference would be to look at something like 7 Cents. So thereafter, John Keells Holdings really embarked on Sri Lanka's largest integrated project, which is Cinnamon Life. At the time, we conceptualized this project to be something that Colombo has never seen before, and something that will put Colombo and Sri Lanka on the map. And that is the integrated nature of Cinnamon Life. So I'm happy to say today that Cinnamon Life, we've completed the 2 residential towers, the office tower is completed, and the hotel and mall and the entertainment facilities are slated for completion towards the latter part of this year. But just touching a bit on the apartments, I think what's really unique about this development, I mean, if you recall, I spoke about Monarch and Emperor and the integration there. This is something similar, but on a much larger scale. Right. So with the apartments here, you have the hotel right in the middle, and the hotel will be an 800-roomed hotel with banqueting and convention facilities to host up to 5,000 people in different locations. You'll have multiple specialty restaurants coming in here, entertainment venues. You'll have a shopping and entertainment mall as well. So there's a hive of activity for you and your family as well. And in addition to that, what's unique is we have a 30-story office tower as well, which is now about 40% occupied by one single company called HCL Technologies. And the remaining 20% is occupied by a few other corporates as well. So HCL Technologies really looked at the potential of this development and the connectivity, especially even for someone working at the office tower. If it's an expat working there, you can just walk over to your apartment for lunch, just a 1-minute walk away from the office tower. And that's the beauty of this integration, so you don't have to live away. You've got everything in one location. So it's pretty much a city within a city.
I was just going to say the same thing.
so that really is going to transform Sri Lanka, and I think we'll really see the fruits of this once the full project is completed towards the latter part of this year. And that is just going to transform apartment living on a luxury level in Sri Lanka.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Nadeem, for that. So basically, when it comes to John Keells Properties, it's location, it's about the convenience, it's about the luxury, and it's about how you can find that perfect place to call home. Now, you're probably wondering, what's behind us? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But we have to also talk about the current situation in Sri Lanka, Nadeem.
Sure.
So, I mean, Sri Lanka is going through, we have faced and currently facing a few problems, you could say, a few headwinds, several headwinds due to the current economic crisis or tax regime. How is that affecting the real estate sector?
Now, of course, I think before getting into the crisis, I mean, looking at the project here, this is TRI-ZEN, again, something innovative that came out of John Keells Properties, because now we were operating again in the luxury space, so then we thought, what's that next project that we're going to do, which will transform urban living in the heart of Colombo. Now, when we were thinking and conceptualizing this project, we looked at a few things, right? So we looked at, international markets. So you look at, countries like Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, about 50 to 60% of residential housing in the city are apartments. Right, you look at places like Mumbai, it's high rises. About 80-90% apartments in the heart of the city. Singapore is almost 100%. You can't even compare it. So Colombo is still at its infancy in terms of apartment living. We're not even at 10% of our occupied housing being apartments in the city.
Okay, right.
So
That's
we
something
knew
I didn't know.
Exactly. So we knew that this kind of transformational shift is going to happen, because what happens is, as you converge towards the city, the land prices go up. And as land prices go up, the prices in Colombo today. If you want to buy a plot of land and build a house today, it's practically impossible in the core of Colombo. So what you're also starting to see is a shift in lifestyles, from having 4 or 5 people in your family today, couples have 1 to 2 children, So because of that shift, people want convenience, they want security and safety. And that's where you're seeing people now, transforming from living in a house to coming to that convenient living in an apartment, right? And do you want to spend 2-3 hours of your day in traffic, traveling to and from work? Or do you want to spend those 2-3 hours, lounging by the pool at an apartment, or just reading a book,
or relaxing
with your family and not having to stress through traffic? We actually did this calculation, and if you spend 3 hours of your day just commuting, that's of your full working life, that's about 2 to 3 years of your life that you spend in a car.
Oh, wow.
So thinking about all of this, we said, this transformational shift is going to happen. It's inevitable. So that's when we kind of conceptualized and looked at what's that next project that we can do that will allow people to move in and converge towards the heart of the city and let them have that convenience. And that's when we conceptualized TRI-ZEN. So TRI-ZEN, of course, is the 3 towers and plus the whole Zen aspect that you get with all the common facilities and the greenery that you have in the development. So the key with any development is really its location. And I think, as you mentioned before, the unique thing with TRI-ZEN is that you have two road frontages. You have the Union Place road frontage and you have the Braybrook Place road frontage as well. And right around TRI-ZEN, you've got 4 major supermarkets, you've got multiple restaurants, you've got the banks, you've got cinemas, everything which is just a 5-10 minute walk away from this development. And what we wanted to really create was a sense of community and really build on this concept of community living. Because with almost 900 apartments here, you're going to have almost 2,000 plus people living here. Right. So that's going to be a community in itself, right? So the entire 11th floor, we have a ½ kilometer jogging track. We have 2 swimming pools, gymnasiums, multiple recreational spaces, kids play areas. Right up on the rooftop, believe it or not, you have a badminton court right up on the 51st floor with stunning views of the city. And then you've got other recreational spaces as well, stargazing sanctuaries, yoga areas, and another gymnasium on the rooftop as well. So plenty of facilities for anyone buying this apartment. So when you're investing in an apartment, don't just think of the apartment itself. Think of the value that's created around it, you know, with the location, with the facilities, and of course, you know, going with a reputed developer as well in terms of making your investment. So with TRI-ZEN, it was the first time that we introduced the 1-bedroom concept to the city. And at the start, people were like, oh, this is not really going to move, 1-bedroom units, who's going to buy, who's going to stay in a small unit like this? But then, you know, we had done our research and we knew, okay, this sort of thing has worked in the region. So it was a matter of time that before it worked in Sri Lanka. So I'm glad to say today that we've sold almost 75% of the 1-bedroom units at TRI-ZEN. And we have a mix of 1, 2 and 3-bedroom units. So the 1-bedroom units are approximately 500 square feet, the 2s are about 750 on average, and the 3 beds are over 1,000 square feet. Now people might say these are compact, small spaces. It is compact, but it's very efficient. I'll do a walkthrough of the model apartment and show you what we've done. So when you have compact spaces, it's done for a reason. It's to give you value as well, because for example, in the 3-bedroom units, we've taken the maid's facility out of the unit. Now, if you have a maid's facility in a 3-bedroom unit, that could be about, you know, 150, 200 square feet within your unit that you would be paying for. So what we've done is on every floor, on every tower, we have a common maid's facility. Okay. So if you have a daily maid coming in, they can just use that as well. And what's also unique is we have housekeeping services here. So if you want to just pay someone and get your apartment cleaned for 3-4 hours, you can do that as well. We've also looked at things like self-storage. Now, for example, in our houses, we store a lot of stuff that we don't even use once a year. So we've tied up with a self-storage company where you can store those things away and bring it down just whenever you want. Say just during New Year or during some special festival, you want to bring it down, you can arrange that as well. So lots of kind of added services. So we look at this beyond just an apartment building. It's really an experience that we're giving our owners. And I'm happy to say today that we've sold 78% of this development. We just have over 20% left to sell of our inventory. And coming back to your question on the crisis, despite everything that we've been through, and we launched this project in 2019, in January of 2019. So you know what Sri Lanka has been through from 2019 to date. Yeah. And we've got up to almost 78% sold. So I think it's really, yes, Sri Lanka threw a lot of challenges at us, but we are a resilient nation, right? And I think the resilience of John Keells and its employees to really kind of buckle up and kind of push your way through, I think that's what really showed us in the last few years. So whenever we were faced with these challenges, we really looked at these challenges as opportunities. What can we get out of these challenges, right? Or whether it was through COVID, whether it was through the financial crisis, there were innovative things that we brought out that really transformed the market. Now, for example, I'll just give you one example. During COVID, we introduced an innovative mortgage package called the Freedom Mortgage. Right. Now, what is the Freedom Mortgage? It's basically where you just put the first 20% down and we took on the interest cost for a particular period of time. So to give customers that cushion because of the financial challenges they had during that period to come out of it.
Okay.
And that really helped us through that period, you know. So yes, you do go through these issues, and Sri Lanka particularly has gone through a lot in the last few years. But having said that, we've come out stronger on the other end.
Very true. And like Nadeem said, we are a resilient nation, and John Keells Properties is a trusted name when it comes to properties, and that is why these projects are just selling like hotcakes. So if you are a person who is interested in a project like this, well, there's more, because you are going to see a beautiful model apartment when it comes to TRI-ZEN, and there's another special project which Nadeem will speak about in just a bit. So with that, let's head towards the model apartment.
Yeah, please come this way. So let's have a look at the TRI-ZEN model apartment,
Right.
something that's very unique and a first to Sri Lanka, because what we have here is what we call a dual key unit.
Okay.
So what you mean by dual key is that you have a 2-bedroom unit and a 1-bedroom unit with a common area in the middle. So you can live in one and put the other one on rent. So you have a steady stream of income.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to give your kids a little bit of independence, but keep them close to you,
Right.
that's something that you could do as well. But again, I'm not too sure how many parents will actually want to do that.
But it does sound like a good idea though.
Yes, of course. So let's go and have a look at the apartment.
Sure, let's do that.
So this is a truly smart tech development in Sri Lanka, and a first for Sri Lanka. So wherever you are in the world, you want to access the apartment, you can just get on the mobile app, open the door to the apartment. If you want to give someone a specified period just to enter the apartment, just put the code in and you go straight through.
All right.
So you don't have to have a key, just straight through to the apartment.
Okay.
All right. And as we come in, all you just got to say is, "Hey Google, I'm home."
Hi, welcome home. Welcome to the TRI-ZEN Smart Home.
And just like that, everything lights up. So what we have here is a 2-bedroom unit, which is 750 square feet. So what's really interesting here is, you know, even in terms of the furniture, we work with different interior designers to maximize the space utilization and come up with efficient furniture packages that you see around this apartment. So this particular apartment has a closed kitchen, but we have, you know, 22 different layouts across the TRI-ZEN development, and some with open kitchens and some with closed kitchens. And this has 2 bathrooms, whereas some of the apartments have 1 bathroom or 1.5 bathrooms. What we mean by 1.5 is you have a full bathroom plus a powder room. Let's do a walkthrough of the apartment and look at what we have to offer you. So what do you think of the 1-bedroom unit at TRI-ZEN?
The 1-bedroom unit is also very spacious. For a 1-bedroom unit, this is very spacious and very beautiful. This is about 520 square feet.
It's 520 square feet, exactly.
Yeah.
And you have a nice open kitchen here, you know, quite spacious in the living area, and also, you know, the bathroom and the master bedroom. And what's really unique again is, you know, you have this 1-bedroom unit right in the heart of the city. And imagine the value appreciation of that with all the facilities within the development and also everything that you have around this development.
True.
Now, I spoke about the furniture packages before. So when we were dealing with the interior designers, we said, you know, think of something unique, right? Don't just do the standard furniture packages. So in fact, this couch here is a pull-out bed. So technically, if you have some friends staying over, this one bed can convert to some sort of a 2-bedroom unit. So that was the kind of thinking behind this as well. So it's a very novel concept for the city, and I think that's something that's really going to grow on people in time to come.
Very true. And speaking about the location, TRI-ZEN is in the heart of Union Place. So you have all the top schools, banks. Port City is just 3.5 kilometers away.
Exactly.
So it is an ideal location if you're looking for an investment here in Sri Lanka. Now, speaking about investments, Nadeem, why would an expat client, or any client for that matter, consider an investment, real estate investment here in Sri Lanka?
Good question. I think especially if you look at the Sri Lankan expats, you want to own a part of home, right?
Yeah.
You want to have a piece of your home with you.
Yeah.
And I think for most Sri Lankans, that's what it is, you know. And, you know, people come to me with this question and they say, oh, you know, Sri Lankan apartment prices are very high,
Yeah.
you know, compared to some of these regional cities or even compared to more developed countries. But I asked them the question, if you were to buy an apartment of this size or this standard in the heart of that city,
Yeah.
you know, where you're living in, would you be able to get it at this price?
Very true.
And a TRI-ZEN one-bedroom apartment today, I mean, you look at it, it's about 50 million rupees upwards and works out to about 140,000 USD upwards. Tell me where you can buy an apartment
In the heart of a city.
in the heart of a city, in a capital city for 140,000 upwards. Not many places.
Very true.
And I think that's where really the value comes in, you know. So at every level, even if you look at from our luxury developments to, you know, the kind of metropolitan developments, there's always a lot of value that we've created in our developments in the heart of the city. And like you said before, location is key.
Very true. So Nadeem, when it comes to our expat clients who are interested in investing in a property in Sri Lanka, let's say TRI-ZEN for example, the one question they might ask is, do I have a loan option or do I have a loan facility to back that funding up?
Yes, of course. I mean, as a Sri Lankan expatriate, you do have avenues to invest via home loans, but the tenure could be 5 to 7 years, but that's something that you'll have to discuss with your bank in Sri Lanka.
Right. And this is for expat clients who are citizens of Sri Lanka.
That's right. Or dual citizens that can purchase as well.
Okay, so there you go. So if you are a citizen of your residing nation, unfortunately there's no loan facility unless you want to discuss with your particular bank. But if not, it is only for expat clients who are dual citizens or Sri Lankan citizens.
But given the attractive pricing that we have from our projects, hopefully you don't even have to go down that avenue.
Exactly.
And if you are not a citizen of Sri Lanka, you don't transfer that money to Sri Lanka and look at the
Absolutely.
investment potential.
Absolutely. You can invest in your home country as well as you can have a holiday home in Sri Lanka. So now we're going to look at the next amazing project that John Keells Properties is looking at, and it's coming to you from Ja-Ela. So let's have a look at that project right now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at it. Thank you.
So we looked at TRI-ZEN apartments in Union Place, and right now we are at the beautiful model apartment of VIMAN in Ja-Ela, one of the latest projects of John Keells Properties, and it's located in Ja-Ela. So Nadeem is here with us in this model apartment just to give you a little bit of an idea why VIMAN is so special and why you should consider an investment like this in Ja-Ela.
Sure. So in terms of, you know, conceptualizing this project, we really looked at, you know, getting into the whole suburban space in terms of our developments. So the first place that we picked is Ja-Ela, and there are a few reasons for this. So one is connectivity, and I think we spoke about location earlier. Connectivity is also crucial. Again, you know, going back to regional experiences, as soon as connectivity improves between two locations, you're going to see those locations transforming. Especially now, for example, if you look at Ja-Ela, there's a port access highway that is currently being built, which is expected to be completed by around September next year.
Right.
So once that highway connects right up to the port city, the journey time from the heart of Colombo right up to our property at Ja-Ela will take 25 to 30 minutes door to door. That's going to be faster than coming even from the eastern corridor towards Battaramulla, Hokandara and beyond to come from Ja-Ela into the heart of the city. So you're going to see Ja-Ela as a city really evolving, and that transition is going to take place very fast. I mean, as a case in point, if you look at what happened to the southern belt of Sri Lanka with the connectivity of the expressway, you saw the kind of development that took place. True. And you can imagine what that's going to do towards now the north of Colombo, towards Ja-Ela and that area, right? So that's why we thought, you know, we had a beautiful property, a 6-acre property, right on the main road in Ja-Ela. So again, coming back to location, any town we are in the best of locations.
True that.
So you step out of your property, you're on the main Ja-Ela Negombo road, and connectivity from there to the expressway is seamless, right? So that was really the starting point for us, and then we said, now we need to look at giving something unique to our customers. And that's where I think really you see the value in a project like VIMAN in Ja-Ela. And the name VIMAN actually means a happy place to live in.
Wow.
So really, like I said, this location, it's a 6-acre property with 418 apartments spread across the 6 acres. And what's really nice about this development is that it's only ground plus 4 floors. So it's not even a high-rise development. Right. It's not a very dense development. Lots of green spaces across the development. So there's going to be lots of trees around the development. We'll have a central garden which will have a plethora of activities right across the garden area, and then you've got a swimming pool, gymnasium, multi-purpose court. So there'll be a lot of facilities, again, really enhancing that whole community living aspect within Ja-Ela as well. So it's very interesting to kind of see. I mean, we've just launched phase 1 a few months ago, and I'm happy to say that we are almost sold out of phase 1, and we'll be launching the sales of phase 2 in the coming months.
And when would phase 2 be completed?
So phase 1 and phase 2 will be completed towards around early to mid 2026 as at now.
Right. And what would be the starting prices?
So the starting price is about 28 million rupees for a 2-bedroom unit, and the 3-bed start at about 34 million rupees. And what you see here is a 3-bedroom unit. And you'll be surprised, it's 1,000 square feet, but you can feel the space of this, right? And I mean, you have the floor to ceiling height being almost 3 meters, that's about 10 feet. Yeah. So, we really, again, focused on making the spaces efficient. Now, if you look at this model apartment, we haven't really lost any space for corridors or anything. It's a very efficient layout.
Very true.
So that was the whole thinking behind it, and the 2-bedroom unit will be very similar to this, except that you wouldn't have the extra bedroom as well. So that's the main difference. But it's very encouraging to see the response that we've had, and I think John Keells going into this segment has really changed this whole segment and the perception towards people investing in the suburbs. And I feel in time to come we will really look at dominating this segment going forward.
Very true. So thank you so much, Nadeem, for having a chat with us and about talking about some of the great projects that John Keells Properties is doing right now. But we'll ask one more question, one final question. So whether it's TRI-ZEN or whether it's VIMAN, what are some of the key factors that a prospective buyer or client should look at when they are going to invest in a property in Sri Lanka?
Now, I think the first thing any customer should look at is to look at who the developer is. Right. I think that's very important, because when you're investing in Sri Lanka, you need to understand whether the developer has the financial strength to complete this project, despite kind of, external factors like what we've been through over the last few years. And you really need to understand, what is your requirement? Am I buying this purely as an investment, or am I buying this as a mix of investment plus for me to live in, or is this purely for me to live in? Because if someone is buying it purely for an investment, then you should be hard-nosed about looking at the returns that you're going to get. So really buy the unit that would give you the best of returns, right? So from a rental yield and also capital gains. But if you're buying it for your own personal use, there's a bit of emotion that comes into that as well, understandably, and then you should go for the best possible unit that would suit your needs.
So there you go. You heard it from the man himself, Mr. Nadeem Shums, who is the head of sales and marketing for John Keells Properties. He's also the vice president for John Keells Group. So you know exactly what you need to look at, all the important factors that you need to look at when you are investing in a property in Sri Lanka, especially when that property is a John Keells property. Also, we at Grid Property Group are excited to tell you that we are working closely with John Keells Properties as a partner to market these amazing property options to our expat clients all around the world. So make sure you contact Grid Property Group and we'll be more than happy to assist you with that. So with that, big thank you to Mr. Nadeem Shums. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming over.
It is our absolute pleasure, and we look forward to continuing this partnership and of course showcase these amazing projects with you. So make sure you get in touch with us, and we are here to help.